Hello again, everybody! This is Dr. Kendo, and we're here with another Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor commentary. This is where I create your favorite characters in the Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor. That is just a feature on the Wii U and PC versions of this game. Let's get it started! With a golem as the source object, we're going to be creating Twisted Freddy. Of course, this comes from Five Nights at Freddy's The Twisted Ones, which is the sequel book, basically. That's the sequel to The Silver Eyes. And so today is just Twisted Freddy, so no, we're not doing any of the other Twisted animatronics right now. If you want them, ask for them. That's how this series goes. Basically, whatever is most popular, most requested each week is what gets created. And so we're going to go with a treant, and we'll take that back foot of the treant right here, and that'll be for the feet of our Twisted Freddy. We actually don't really get a good look at his feet. At least, I don't own the book or anything like that, but we're basically designing this. It's based off of a promotional poster that you can see online right now, and there's a few promotional images, I guess, and Twisted Freddy just looks absolutely epic and menacing for sure. So we'll go with a mutton next, and this mutton is going to be kind of like these torn up pieces and stuff. So in retrospect, the picture, it's like this cinnamon will also be for that same purpose, but you can see different parts on the legs where it looks like the animatronic fur or skin is kind of ripped up and ripped off, and you can see a little bit of stringiness and strands of it still intact. And so the mutton and the cinnamon, those will work well for those kind of rips and stuff in the legs. We got coffee bean. The coffee bean will be some of this gangrenous infection. I guess I'll just summarize it by infection. But basically, a feature of a lot of these Twisted animatronics is this kind of nasty gangrene looking, just circular, really nasty looking infections. And we just did Scroggin. Scroggin is basically just a mixture of dried fruit and nuts and other food, basically kind of like a snack for hikers. And so then we're gonna go with Flotsam, and maybe you're asking, what is that? Well, simply put, basically it's like shipwreck debris, basically. And so all of this is really, we're just painting it kind of this nasty green color, all of that for the infections and stuff. So the Flotsam down on the legs, you saw the Scroggin was all up there on the shoulder here, this front shoulder that is to our left, Twisted Freddy's right. We'll go with a fire tornado. There's a piece kind of in the bottom right here that we'll take for that, and that's going to be another nasty little gangrenous infection spot here on the arm. That would be to our right, but it's Twisted Freddy's left arm. And then we can type in Gumdrop, and the Gumdrop yet again for some more nastiness. Going here on this arm, the front arm that's closer to us, I guess, or it's to our left. I guess we'll repeat that several times, but we got a Red Giant coming up next. The Red Giant will be for this huge hole basically in the middle of Twisted Freddy's torso. And for anybody who has seen the picture of Twisted Freddy and what it looks like, we'll use Irish moss, but basically he's got a lot of teeth and stuff. It's like there's several layers of teeth there in the middle of the torso in this big gaping hole. So you can see that we're going to take the Irish moss and essentially just go around and round in a square, basically 4 for the outer layer and 4 on the inside, but then we'll fill in the rest with lasagna. This is a way that we can actually make a similar look to what we were doing with the Irish moss, but the lasagna is just one stamp that can accomplish a lot of things that we need. Lettuce coming up next, we'll type in that and place it down on the other shoulder that doesn't have any gangrene on it yet. But yeah, hopefully you guys liked that trick with the lasagna. Of course, we did the kind of top, middle, and bottom parts of it with that silvery tooth color, and then made a little bit darker gray shade in between all of those. Cream puff, that's what we'll type in next, and we got the cream puff here on the other shoulder, so back here on this left side shoulder, that's of course our left. It's going to be amidst all of that Scroggin mix. We're making it look real nasty. We'll go ahead and name it. I think we do have some more stamp space. Not much, but we'll do some more design in just 1 second. After we name it, we're going to go into the properties editor here. This is where you can edit health and other stats, basically, for your creation. This is where I like to read background information and fun facts about whatever we're creating in this series, so I'm going to go ahead, talk about the book, basically. Five Nights at Freddy's, The Twisted Ones, is the sequel to the FNaF book called The Silver Eyes, and the About summary reads as follows, quote, "It's been a year since the horrific events at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and Charlie is just trying to move on. Even with the excitement of a new school and a fresh start, she's still haunted by the nightmares of a masked murder and 4 gruesome animatronic puppets. Charlie thinks her ordeal is over, but when a series of bodies are discovered near her school, bearing wounds that are disturbingly familiar, she finds herself drawn back into the world of her father's frightening creations. Something twisted is hunting Charlie, and this time, if it finds her, it's not letting her go. And so now we have basically artwork of the new Twisted animatronics, and we're obviously creating Twisted Freddy for today's Scribblenauts episode. Notice that these guys look truly menacing, and as we discussed before, they have some kind of gangrenous infection going on or something. It is insane. And so we're going to be reaching the stamp limit with this last one stamp that I was trying to include right here, which is an abalone. That's basically like this mollusk, an edible mollusk, and I'm putting it on the kneecap there. It would be to our left. Of course, that's Twisted Freddy's right, showing that there is a little hole in there. We started off with the glue as the source object. We're going to be creating this in 4 different parts. So Scribblenauts Unlimited, I just mentioned the stamp limit. That is one kind of aspect of this game, is that while you're creating, each thing that you place down to make your object overall is considered a stamp. So like we've used the back arm of a knight right now to make the fingers here with an alien torso or body as the main part of, basically this is going to be the hand if that wasn't obvious, and this will be for the hand that's on Twisted Freddy's left side. Looks like it's to our right, but it's the left hand. We got a dartfish, that top dorsal fin, and that'll be for the nails. These nails are huge, long, sharp, crazy, but yes, the game does have a stamp limit. I know, it's called Scribblenauts Unlimited. Who would have guessed? But it does. It does have a stamp limit, and that's what we work within for each of these episodes and each of these creations. And so with that, that's why we do create these separately. Now the hands, we can add a lot of detail to since we get to create them separately, but basically having it as a glue means that we can just place it down onto the arms of our character. And so you'd basically do that same thing for the right hand. Of course, just make everything facing the opposite direction, obviously facing over to the right. That hand would be to our left. And anyway, we'll go with the head as the source object next, and we're going to paint this head this brownish color right here because that'll be for the base, or really the top of the head, I guess. With this orange, we're going to take 2 oranges, and those will be for the ear right here, both ears I should say, and a top hat. That's just one stamp that we can use that'll make the whole hat. I know I would like to make it more detailed, but I know that this is definitely going to be a aspect of the character that also runs out of stamp space. We are definitely going to run out. Honestly, I'm a little worried, but we're going to try to fit it all in. So here we go with gravy. The gravy we're going to take twice. So the first layer of gravy is just right here on the top, and then there's the bottom. These will be for the jaws, the mouth, in essence, the outer part. So we've got that situated, and I'll go with radiation next. We're going to paint this kind of a darkish pink red kind of hue to it. Looking good, and so we'll place it behind those gravies right there, and so that's kind of the inner workings of his mouth, getting started on it at least. And I'm going to go with dough, D-O-U-G-H. The dough will be for not only the outer layer of the eyes, but also this inner layer of black and everything, so we'll get that in 1 second. We're going to go with the scroggin once again. This is kind of a good stamp to use that has many pieces to it to make all of this nasty infection that's all over Twisted Freddy and some of the others. So of course he's got it kind of going over his eye even a little bit, but it's over here on the side of Twisted Freddy's head. A man-eating plant. That's what we've typed in. Next, I'll take that bottom jaw of the man-eating plant. This is going to be for the snout, nose area, basically, this peachish tan part right here, and we'll go with a worm to kind of finish off that nose. The worm itself is going to be the black part of the nose. So here I'm just going to be moving everything. This is actually going to take a lot of adjustments as we're going along, because as we're placing things, it's like, oh, maybe this is too big or it's not in the right spot. But here we go on the trend of new stamps that I haven't used in this series. Yet again, there's been a lot of them this episode. We're just typing in Kaikatia. This is a New Zealand tree used a lot for the resin and other things and such, and so its seeds basically is what I think is resulted right here, and the seeds were actually kind of formerly eaten by the Maori people, so that's what we've used. So now we'll go ahead and fill in those eyes with another 2 pieces of dough, the stamp dough, and those were all painted black, of course. And so here's kind of an interesting way we can get the eye, I guess, a little bit more detail with using less stamps, is we'll go with an 8-ball. You can see that Twisted Freddy's eyes, they are kind of this blackish gray hue, but they also have that lighter gray or white within that. And then we'll create it with the pupil. I think you can actually see one image without the pupil, but then one image where it is actually in there. And the pupil, I've just used a wart to be that, painted all the way black, of course. So the Irish moss we'll use once again like we did on the torso teeth. We're going to use that for these teeth. It's because we just, it's really going to be tough. I don't think we can fit every single individual tooth in the mouth. I would love to do that with something like an Allosaurus tail, or even a specific fish probably in this game. You could probably use the fins of that, but imagine how many stamps that would take. It would be crazy. So we'll go with 4 Irish mosses right here, and we're layering them all around and placing them. And so you notice that this bottom one is kind of going over, whereas the top layer of 2 Irish moss teeth are positioned under by layer order, under the gravy. So then we've got a golem. We're going to take the shoulder piece of the golem that's in the back, basically to our right side. And so this will be the inner ear section. And so we put that up there over the orange, those ears that were oranges. And so then we need the other side. I'm going to go with a bubble this time. It's basically like we're looking at him kind of at a quarter turned view, not straight on, but not horizontally sideways either. So that's why we use kind of two different stamps for that, just to give it a little bit of perspective. And so I'm going to go with angioma. We've used this stamp before, but not a whole lot. That is going to be the stamp limit reached once again for the head right here. So it's like, again, I would have just loved to include even more details, but there you saw it. We ran out of stamp space. So the angioma is like there's basically a second mouth almost within the mouth of Twisted Freddy. So whenever you create a head and a body separately in this game, you do want to go here on the head object, and under the properties editor, just go down to this tab that says equipment. It's kind of down at the bottom near it, and you see these 4 circles down on the bottom half of the screen. There's that third circle down from the top that says can be worn on the face like glasses. You want to fill that in, and once you've got that, then you can basically just put the head object into the hands of your body object, and ultimately it won't go to its hands. It'll go up to the head where it's kind of supposed to be. Now, if it's not exactly where you want it to be or anything, you can edit the body object. You can see here our Twisted Freddy. The head is mostly where I want it to go, but you can edit that body object if you want. Basically turn on the green grids. That shows all of the moving parts of your character and where you can place things and stuff. So with that, you could move, the head grid up, down, left, right, wherever you need it to move for the head object that you created separately to actually be placed in the correct spot. Does that make sense? Boy, I sure hope so. And so Twisted Freddy looking just epic. We need to have some fun here. Oops, I just took off a hand, but that shows you they are glued on. You can kind of easily grab them off on accident, I guess. But we've got our Tattletale creations right now, and we're going to make Twisted Freddy attack them. I don't think that they're going to attack back because they don't really move around and stuff, at least too much. So let's make Twisted Freddy hostile, and then he'll start attacking them. And so Mama is getting attacked, but pushed over to this tree right now, closer and closer to her little ones, and she climbed up the tree. I did not know that she was going to do that. That is crazy. So Mama is actually safe from the Twisted Freddy, looking down on her little children, peasants, being like, hey, better you guys than me. And so Twisted Freddy just having a heyday here. I think it would actually, if this was like real life, he would probably just step on them and they'd be dead. So yeah, maybe we need to give him a little bit more power, huh? But ultimately that, you can see basically the attack animation here. It's just the Golem's attack animation, since that's what we started off with as the source object, our poor little Tattletales. And so yes, I did create them in another episode. Hopefully you guys have seen that one. It was back in like February, earlier on in the year. And so Mama's actually coming down the tree. I don't know why she would do that to meet her demise and everything. She's just scared and doesn't know what to do, I guess. But then she jumped when she was at the top of the tree. Did you see that? That was hilarious. It's almost like she's just taunting the Twisted Freddy here. Coming down again, I don't know. It's not something I scripted or anything. It's just the behavior of the... Okay, she's like one hit away. Let's go ahead and just knock her off of that tree. And boom, Twisted Freddy wreaking havoc on this Christmas scene. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I do hope to create the other Twisted animatronics. There's just a lot going on right now, and I think since they are very involved creations, doing them one at a time is a solid idea for now. I'm working on building my Twitch audience up. YouTube has been very, very fickle. YouTube is, sometimes I'm doing really great, and then other weeks it's like I'm a completely different channel or something. It's really not based on me. I mean, I've tried everything, and there's no logic as to what works and what doesn't, unless it's like the logic of popular or trending topics doing better, just basically better performing than, say, non-trending. But for example, Plants vs. Zombies is incredibly old, but the Roof Plants video did like super well, whereas a video on My Hero Academia did not do so well. So there's a lot of factors. I don't want to bore you with all of that. Ultimately, the channel's fine. I'm just telling you guys. I'm also concentrating on building up a Twitch audience. That's twitch.tv/DRKENDO. And the other thing I've been up to is preparing for my baby. Of course, we got baby Kendo. That's what we'll call him until he's a little bit older. That's what we'll call him on the channel here. My son is basically, his due date is October 9th, so we'll see if he makes it on time, early or late. I will always keep you guys in the loop, of course. Thank you so much for your love and support, and I think that's it. So I will catch you guys on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. On the days when subscribers fly, I just pray you won't pass me by. On the days you're just dragging by, never die, we'll never die.